Nearly 10 years after the disappearance of Susan Powell, her story continues to captivate the country. Susan Powell disappeared from her West Valley home in December 2009 and has never been found. In the weeks, months, and years after her disappearance, police and media attention focused on her husband, Josh Powell, who said he took their children camping the night Susan Powell went missing. Only 1 month after her disappearance, Josh Powell moved to Washington, where he later blew up his home, killing himself and the couple's two young sons, Charlie and Braden. The story was the focus of NBC's Dateline episode on Friday and the center of KSL's investigation podcast, Cold. But the investigation didn't end with the final podcast episode released in March. This week, the Cold team dove deep into some intriguing evidence never before made public. The day after Susan Powell went missing, West Valley Police hit a GPS tracker on Josh Powell's minivan. While the effort didn't capture the most important moves he made, like when he disappeared for 18 hours in a rental car, it did track everything after that.
Days after Josh took his boys winter camping in the West Desert, he headed west again. The GPS tracker gives us a minute-by-minute account of Josh's movements as he drove more than 100 miles to West Wendover, Nevada. He pulled into the parking lot of a grocery store, sat for 20 minutes, grabbed some fast food, then headed back. But he made some odd stops on the way home.
He would pull off the exits and try to clear himself.
Data shows precisely how Josh pulled off at the Clive exit, went south, flipped around, went north, flipped around again, and then drove to the back of a gravel pit.
He came to this exact spot, and he stayed here for 2 hours, where nobody could see him from the freeway.
What he didn't know is we had an airplane in the air too, so he could avoid the cars, but he couldn't avoid the airplane.
After that, Josh came here to the Grassy Mountain Rest area. In fact, he parked right in this stall in front of these garbage cans.
Minutes later, he was on the move again, but still, he didn't go home.
And we could see in the data how Josh not once, but twice made illegal U-turns on the freeway going back to the rest area. It's not clear why he did that.
I believe his whole motive there was just to see if we were following him.
It was just one of many days of odd movements in the 2 weeks after Susan vanished.
He went to this bank where Susan kept her secret divorce documents in a safe deposit box. Detectives have beat him to it, though, recovering her last will and testament.
He drove to this park on the east bench of Sandy for no apparent reason. Same with this West Jordan condo complex. But in all of his travels, there's no indication from the GPS data that Josh spent any of this time looking for his missing wife.
If there's places that we need to go check, what places should we go check to see if we can find her?
In one of his only interviews with police, Josh had just a single suggestion for detectives: beauty supply stores.
She does go to Sally's.
Police did follow up on that. Looking at this data, we know Josh never did.
The GPS tracker even confirms that Josh Powell had to visit a chiropractor 10 days after Susan Powell's disappearance. Documents obtained exclusively by the Cold team proved he was diagnosed with a suspicious rotor cuff injury there. But in all of his travels, there's no indication from the GPS data that Josh Powell spent any of his time searching for his missing wife.